All right, friends. So the next topic that I would want to discuss with you is power set, which is kind of in similar veins to permutation combinations. So it's also selecting subsets out of the larger set, but it is all possible subsets. So let's say we are going to discuss power set today. So let's say, I have a larger set of size n. So what are the possible subsets of this larger set n? Right. Let's see this with the help of an example. Right. So let's say I have a larger set of size 1, which is only having a, right? So set size is 1. So what are the possible subsets? So basically, we get to subsets is I can decide to include a, and I can decide to not include a in my set of choices, right? So let's say if I decide to include a in my subsets choices, so that would give me, so far, because there is only one, that would give me one subset. And then if I don't include A, I still get a valid subset, which is a special case of a subset, which is an empty set, right? So this is an empty set. So I get two subsets in my uh, in my collection here. So for larger set of size 1, I get uh, a superset or a collection of size 2 subsets, right? Um, let's look at what happens when we increase the larger set size. So let's say I have A and B, right? So now I have two choices to make from, right? This is so my larger set size is 2, and now I have to make sure which one I want to include and which one I want to exclude at every point. So let's start in the same intuition, right? So let's say in my first selection I say that, okay, I will include A, right, in this, but there is one more choice. I haven't yet made my decision on B, so I'll leave that as to be D, right? TBD. So I'll say, okay, maybe later at some point I'll decide on that. And then uh, I'm saying I will not include A here, right? The same thing I did as above. So if I don't include A, I still have one more to select from, which is B, right? So so I'll leave it as a dot here, right? So now comes B's turn, right? So I'm done with A here, but I'm not yet completed with my decisions. So what I can do here, so I can say that, okay, with whatever is incomplete here, whatever I'm left over with, I can choose to include B, right? If I choose to include B, then I get this as the subset because I have no more choices, right? I cannot leave any more blank spaces here. So now I'm done. So I'm saying either I included B or I say I'm not going to include B. So that will be that my choice, right? So I get two different subsets of making a choice on B. The same thing goes here. So I say, okay, here I may choose to include B or I may choose to not include B, right? So if I don't choose to include B, then I get 1, 2, 3, 4. So four possible subsets, right? So four possible subsets out of these larger set of size 2. Let's look at one more example, and then we'll see how this is nicely, matching up to multiples of 2's, right? So so if I have a larger set of size 3, let's say I have A, B, and C, right? So if I have A, B, and C, so basically it's the same thing. So I have 1, 2, 3. Now I have three decisions to make from. It might get a little hairy, and I might flounder a little bit, but I'll try to get the intuition right. So let's say we begin with our same intuition. I'll say that, okay, so far I am going to select A, but then I have two more spots to fill, which I haven't made up my mind yet. So I may or may not select the other ones. And then on my other side, I'm going to say, okay, I'm not going to select A, but I have to make my decision on the other two, right? So the other twos are the B and C. Now the same thing happens. So I choose to select B, right, with one of the choices, whereas with the other, I say, okay, I don't choose to select B. So I'm going to say, I'm going to leave a spot for the last decision, right? I'm going to say whether or not I'm going to select a B here for this particular choice. So I've left out B, so I'm going to make my decision on C. The same thing happens here. I can select B, right? I'm going to select B, and I'm going to decide about the next one later. Or I can say, okay, I do not select B here, and I'm going to make a decision on my next one, right? So on my next one. So now it's the turn to make a decision for the last one. So the last one says, okay, either I'm going to select C, right? Either I'm going to select C, or I'm not going to select C. So if I don't select C, what do I get? So I get A and B only, right? So I get A and B, or if I didn't fill in this part. The same thing happens here. I can select C, or I can reject C, in the sense I may choose not to select C. So what do I'm left with for this particular case? Because I'm at my last choice here. So with C. So if you see carefully, this one gave us this one gave us this particular choice, and this one gave us just this particular choice for the last choice. So if I chose C here, then I get this. If I choose not to include C, then I get this. Here, if I choose to include C, I get this. If I choose not to include C, I get this, right? The same thing happens here. So if I choose to select C, then I get this, right? But if I choose not to select C, so if I choose not to select C in my decision process, so what do I get? I get just B, right? Same thing. And then if I choose to select C, I get this. And see here, I'm not leaving any more blanks because this is my last choice, right? And then if I choose not to select C, what do I get here? I get an empty set, right? So I get an empty set. So it's basically making a decision of currently selecting the current element or not including it in your current set. And that would give us uh, the possible subsets, right? So how many subsets did we get? We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? So 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 that makes it 8, right? So if you see here, every time it is getting multiplied by 2, right? So if I had one slot to fill, I have two choices. If I have two slots to fill, I have 2 times 2 choices. If I have 3 slots to fill, then I have 2 choices, 2 choices, 2 choices. I mean, so 2 choices in the sense including the current or not including the current, including the current, not including the current. So this is with or this is without this particular offset, with or without this offset, with or without this offset, right? And that makes it uh, let me write it down here. So that makes it, since we are branching 2 times every time, that makes it O of 2 to the power n algorithm, as we'll see. So if you look at in terms of branching strategy and try to come up with a heuristic for writing code. So let's say I have A, B, and C to choose from. So I'm going to branch twice, right? Every time. So I'll say, okay, I have selected A, and I'm still yet to make decisions about B and C. And here I am not selecting, so I'm going to just make my decisions about B and C, right? And then again, at this point, I'm going to make my decisions about this particular offset, which is B. So I've already selected A. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to include B with this particular set, but now I'm going to not select B. So I've already made my selection on A, which is there, but I haven't excluded B here. So I'm going to make a decision on C in that step, right? So now here I'm going to make again a decision. So I make a decision to select C, right? So I am going to make a decision to select C, and then I'm going to make a decision not to select C, right? So I get AB. And same thing here, right? I'm trying to select C for this, so I get A and C, and then I'm going to say I'm not going to select C. So then I'm going to say, okay, I just get A. And the same thing happens here. So I say, okay, for my current selection. I'm going to just select B, and then I'm going to make my decision for C, or I'm going to not select C, and then I'm going to decide about C, right? So now comes the decision for C, right? So if you look at every level, we're deciding at each offset, right? So for now here, with we have made a selection, or we have decided about each offset. So here we are deciding about A, here we are deciding about B, and at the last offset we are, or at the last level we are deciding about C. So if I decide including C here, then I get BC. Or if I decide not including C, then I get just B. Okay. And here in this branch, I'm going to say, okay, if I decide to include C, I get this. And if I don't decide, so I get this, right? So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll look at how to proceed with the code for this in the next video.